Our story time personal experience of our woofing in Hawaii.
Yes.
This one is gonna be a lot more laid back, all experience, all story. So anyway, back in
January,
winter,
December, winter break.
We decided we wanted to go woofing in Hawaii.
Why did we choose Hawaii?
We really like the idea of being sustainable, of it being warm. I love the idea of growing mangoes and coconuts on my property. There's a lot of things you can grow in Hawaii that I just really wanted to be able to grow on my own property in the future. It was just a dream of ours to go to Hawaii for a really long time.
Oh, yeah.
And the sustainability seemed amazing there. At this point in our lives, we're kind of in this phase of wanting to travel all around so we can figure out where we want to put roots down. So we were curious on if we would want to live in Hawaii on an island. We want to own our own homestead someday, so that's why we wanted the personal experience of going to work on a farm. We've been wanting to do that for a really long time. Then COVID hit and we weren't sure if we were going to be able to make that happen. There were still quite a few farms taking people, but we weren't sure if we would be able to go in Hawaii because Hawaii had a 14-day quarantine rule. So a lot of the farms there weren't allowing people to come in.
A lot of them wanted you to have a place to do your quarantine before you came to the farm so that you weren't going to compromise the health of anyone on the farm, which makes total sense. We just didn't have the ability to make that happen, so we wanted to figure out how we could still make it work while, you know, checking off what we wanted to do and while keeping everyone safe and healthy, and I think we did just that.
So we went there.
This was our first time woofing.
Yeah, disclaimer, first time woofers. It was our first time. It was our host's first time hosting people.
So it was everyone's first time.
Huge guinea pig experiment.
Yeah.
So yeah, that.
That.
We finally found one in Hawaii. We messaged a few farms and we had one message us back, which was super exciting. We got on a video call with them and we talked to them and all seemed well.
So we went for it.
Yeah, we went for it. We were like, heck yeah, let's do it.
We made arrangements for dates, flights, and everything, and where to pick us up. And
this was all probably like a 3-month long process. We got our woofing membership in like May or June, and then we started looking, and we weren't able to actually go there until August.
Yeah, we started at the beginning of August.
Yeah.
A 6-acre plot of land out in Hawaii.
Yeah, so they were in the Puna district, the poor district of Hawaii, outside of Hilo, on lava flows on an active volcano.
Yeah, we went for it, and we got there, and we did it.
And it wasn't all we expected it to be. It was probably better than we expected it to be because of where we're at now.
For real.
We learned a lot about it, and we had a lot of realizations, and we met quite a few people. Not as many as we would like because of COVID, but we did meet quite a few people. We were super excited to be there. It was a seamless transition, as if like we had been living there forever. It was really, really weird. They had an amazing view on the property. We woke up to an ocean view from our bed practically. It was incredible. We were like, wow, what the heck? We were literally living the dream.
It was working out well.
Yeah, it seemed magical at first. And then the very first day of work, we were literally like cutting down trees, taking them all the way across the yard, putting them in the mulcher. I was about to start weed whacking, and I'm gonna be honest, I've never used a weed whacker. They just handed it to me. They just handed it to me. And so it was kind of this
like,
moment
I don't even know
of
how to start this. We were just thrown right into it, which I was okay with. I have experience doing all this type of work. She could have used a little bit more guidance and help with it. As with, I feel like a lot of woofers, you know, they're doing it for the experience of learning how to farm organically.
I definitely think they wanted someone who already kind of knew what they were doing, which we were super lucky that he did, but I really struggled. I was like taking trees that were twice my height or more and throwing them in a mulcher that kept clogging.
Yeah, our first 2 weeks of work during our quarantine phase were pretty eye-opening and rigorous.
Yeah, it was very, very eye-opening. That's a good word, because it was like, holy cow, I didn't expect it to be this hard. And you know, I also was able to prove to myself that I can do a lot more than I thought.
And
we expected to learn a lot, which we did. Not in the same way we were expecting. We did go into it knowing that the hosts had only had their land for a year, but we just didn't put 2 and 2 together that they probably aren't going to be as educated as we would want them to be. But it also proved to us that literally anyone, I mean, these 2 people were just random people. They just bought land and they're doing it. And so it proved to us that like literally anyone can do this, and it's not just for people like Caleb who have a degree in it. It was hard work, but it felt like we were living a dream. When we were working, when we were eating, when we were just in bed, we saw the ocean. We were very connected to the land. It was beautiful.
Yeah, there's no topsoil on that area of Hawaii. There's always soil. There's always going to be soil. It wasn't there.
It was literally straight rock, so you planted right into rock. It was
Not
very hard.
forgiving.
Yeah.
It was relentless.
But things want to grow in Hawaii, so they do. They grow. Yeah, we did 20 hours of work a week.
Each.
We were exhausted after our 20 hours a week.
Yeah,
every single time. Every single day after work, I was just exhausted.
And even after work, the energy was just sucked out of you before noon that day.
We woke up at like 5 a.m. We would have breakfast, do our own little thing, and try to start working by like 7, 8, 9.
Sometimes 10, but
honestly, most of the time after work, all you wanted to do was just like shower, lay in bed, and it would be hot. You couldn't get away from the heat.
Yeah, we went to the beach a couple times, but
we had to ask our host for a ride, or we had to hitchhike, which
during COVID wasn't very successful.
Yeah. So we only got to go to the beach a handful of times, but the times that we did were absolutely incredible.
The Hilo side, waves can be really rough, the rocks can be sharp. The Kona side is a nice vacation.
That's the spot, yeah, that everyone goes tours and goes swimming and whatever.
That's where the tourists are at. In our third week of work, things were getting pretty either repetitive, or we were doing something, making a mistake, and then having to redo it the next day.
Yeah, like for example, there was one day where we had literally gone and planted over 150 papayas. And then the next day, she literally had us remove them.
A couple hours worth of work for us 3 people to do, and then to turn around the next day and say, that wasn't
what I wanted.
What I wanted. I mean, there were many tasks like this, and we were...
A lot. I think that an important thing to say here is sometimes we would tell our hosts, or like try to say, hey, try doing it this way, but they would want to do it their way and make the mistake on our time, and then we would have to go and redo it again the next day.
And all of the work that we did, I would say we only worked side by side with our hosts for about 5 hours the entire time we were there.
It was very much, here you go, do your own thing. If you don't know how to do it, research it till you figure it out.
I was going to this farm really to hone my skills as a horticulturalist and to learn some more practices and really put some good use to the practices I already knew.
It was hard because I wanted to learn from them, not from Caleb.
I mean, I expected to be taught directly from the hosts, and it was just a different experience than what we expected.
Yeah, all I can say is me not having any background in plants or horticulture or anything, if I was by myself, I wouldn't have lasted as long as I did there, because they were not helpful with like people who didn't know what they were talking about. They weren't very descriptive, and that got really frustrating. And they often, because I was less involved in the conversation, it often felt like they were only talking to him, and then it started getting like feeling sexist. One of the hosts started saying how that's a man's job repeatedly over tasks, and I was just
certain
like,
tasks about the kitchen or cleaning and things like that, she would look to you to do. And to be honest, I like to clean a lot more than you do.
I know. So it started to feel like I wasn't as important there. We already were both feeling slightly unappreciated.
Some of the work we just weren't thanked for. I kind of feel like we were shorted. Maybe they were giving us food and shelter, and that was their thank you. And it's just nice to be able to hear it directly.
We didn't get that same energy exchange. Like it felt like we were giving a lot more than what we were receiving.
Yeah, we were directly told that they'd figure it out with or without us, which I understand that they would. It's just disrespectful to be told directly in your face, like, you're replaceable. Which, I mean,
we'll do this with or without you was literally what came out of her mouth, which was heartbreaking.
We know you will. That's what you're gonna do when we leave.
It started going downhill after like the 3rd and 4th week, because the hosts just were not giving us the same reciprocation that we felt we deserved. Another reason though we decided to leave was we just didn't feel called to Hawaii anymore. During COVID, it was not as lively as it normally was. The beaches were closed when we left.
We had only gone to the farmers market one time on one of the weekends that we had open, because they shut everything down again.
It was very exhausting because we could never get away from the elements, because even our hut, 3 sides were still, it was just a screen window, so like things would be whipping and you could hear everything outside, and they have the loudest frog in the world called the koki frog in Hawaii, and so that was going all night.
Kokis were loud all night. And then the rats were out in the yard that you could hear crunching through the woods.
Pigs sometimes. I rarely got a full night's sleep.
When the moon came around, there was no curtains for a while on one of the windows.
So it was super bright, like the moon made it really bright at night.
The solar started giving out in the 2nd or 3rd week. It might have been the 3rd week. Solar started at night would go out, and we wouldn't get it back until we had strong sunlight the next day at about 9 a.m.
The longer we were there, the more physically exhausted we were getting. We got there and we realized how unsustainable it actually was, because not only was it unsustainable for us on our bodies, it was unsustainable just altogether, because unless you're literally living and working off the land, everything you get is being shipped to you in Hawaii. So even your house materials were most likely shipped to you in Hawaii.
It all needs to be shipped out from the mainland.
The islands are already overpopulated, so we did not want to be adding to the problem.
A lot of people we met were there because they were woofing at some point,
or they were like running
away from something in their life.
Yeah.
And we understand doing that for sure.
We just quickly realized that living on a volcanic rock in the jungle was a lot more work we wanted to put in, like
oh my gosh,
on our land.
If you don't attend to the plants every week or 2 weeks,
it'll eat your house.
It'll just crowd your house. Things don't stop growing there, and it's not easy.
Obviously, this is just our experience, and it was during COVID, and we would love to go back to Hawaii for like a vacation. Another thing they do that nobody talks about is literally they dump the sewage. They just dump right into the bay where people swim.
Yeah. So that's
unsustainable. One of the questions we got was about if this could be used for like a long-term or backup plan type of thing. And yes, woofing in itself definitely could be used for that if you are willing to endure the work. They pay for your housing, food, you have no bills really besides maybe your cell phone bill and whatever else. Otherwise, totally.
We had another question come up of like what were the most surprising things to us, or what surprised us about Hawaii or woofing in Hawaii?
So we talked quite a bit about it, and throughout the whole video there's a lot of surprises that we didn't expect. But I guess like what's your biggest surprise?
The biggest surprise, I think topsoil is honestly my biggest surprise. Just surprised overall that there's literally no topsoil.
My biggest surprise was probably just like how hard the work really was, because I thought I was like
in Hawaii or woofing work in general.
Maybe the woofing work in general, but it could just have been Hawaii. No, I was surprised that I was good at construction work.
Yeah, you're really good at that. And she likes it.
I love construction work, like putting together things and using a table saw and things like that. That was really fun. That surprised me.
It's Gab the Builder, everyone.
What was the biggest lesson we learned? So what was yours?
The biggest lesson?
My biggest takeaway and like lesson that I learned was to follow your dreams. Like literally just go and do it, and it's gonna be freaking hard and uncomfortable, and it's not gonna be what you think your dreams are supposed to feel like. But you just gotta go do it, even though it's uncomfortable and hard and difficult and scary.
My biggest takeaway would be that literally just lean into it, have faith that things will work out, because we went into Hawaii not knowing what we were gonna do on the other side. Gotta be open to everything, being open to whatever opportunity comes your way. If it sounds fun and you don't have a reason not to, go for it.
Have faith.
Just have faith was mine, and follow your dreams. Have faith and follow your dreams.
They go hand in hand. We're cheesy. Last question we'll go over was, what is the most meaningful experience that you had?
It was really meaningful to me that they were willing to open their doors for us to come in the middle of crazy times, a pandemic like that, and they were just like, yeah, we have this space for you that can be separate, and they were really good about it.
That's a good one. That makes me just have so much more gratitude for our host. Even though it was rough, we had a good relationship with them. Like, they were still awesome people. They just weren't the people we wanted to work with or live with. They were really great friends though.
Yeah.
So my most meaningful experience was probably going out swimming in the ocean and just going. I'm not usually a huge swimmer, but I went and I did it even though it was cold, and I kept going out and I swam, and that felt amazing. That was a meaningful experience, and we got to see a sea turtle that day, which I just love, which we could show here. And we also wanted to show, we'll insert all that here.
This is what the toilet looked like. And the view from the toilet. And this is what the shower looked like. And this is the view from the shower.
Okay, thanks for watching.
Have a good day.
Peace. Love you. Thanks for watching. Seriously, we appreciate it. Hey, just wanted to say thanks for watching. If you like this, please like it. It helps us a lot. If you have something to say, comment it below. We want to hear from you. Videos you want to see in the future, questions. We are open for conversation, and we want to connect with you. So. Thank you.